Hello, my perfect angel gorgeous besties. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Rachel, and today's video is going to be me talking all about my February reading plans. I am especially excited for the month of February. It is my birthday month. Shout out to my fellow Aqua sisters, and I have truly such a fantastic TBR. I'm so excited for the month to start, and I'm in a huge romance mood, which is perfect for Valentine's Day. So let's get straight into it. I have a few anticipated releases that are coming out this month. I am participating in a fantasy romance readathon. I'm so excited for that. And February is just gonna be an amazing month. So let's get into it. All right, so let me talk about the two new releases that are coming out. I will probably be picking them up the day that they come out. The first one is going to be Sincerely Yours by Tessa Bailey. So this is Tessa Bailey's newest release. It is going to be the first book in a new duology by her. And all I know is it's Grumpy Sunshine. Our male love interest is a very grumpy professor, and our female main character is his neighbor, so I think there's gonna be forced proximity. And Tessa Bailey writes Grumpy Sunshine really well, and I am just so excited to get a new book from her. It Happened One Summer is one of my top tier romances, so really hoping that Sincerely Yours holds up to that, and I'm just so excited for this book. My next highly anticipated release I am so excited for. This is probably in like my top 3 most anticipated reads of the year, so I'm really hoping it does not let me down, and that is Powerless by Elsie Silver. So this is the 3rd book in the Chestnut Springs series. I did read Heartless last year, which is the 2nd book, and it was one of my favorite books of the year, one of my favorite romances of all time, and I feel like Powerless has the potential to even beat that one out. We have a hockey player and a ballerina. I feel like I don't even need to go into the plot after that because that is just the most amazing couple ever, but this book just sounds so good. So Jasper is our love interest, and I did meet him in Heartless. He's very brooding. He's a little bit different than the other guys in this series thus far. And then Sloane, who is our female main character, she is actually engaged to someone right now, but disaster strikes on her wedding day. She needs to run away, and Jasper and Sloane have been friends for a very long time. It's kind of like childhood friends to lovers, and Jasper offers to whisk her away, and they just need to get out of town and go on a road trip together. So we have a road trip, we have forced proximity. I heard that we have only one bed. We have childhood friends to lovers, mutual pining, and as I said, a hockey player and a ballerina. Like, this book sounds absolutely perfect. I really love the way Elsie Silver writes tension and angst and spice. She is top tier. So I'm so excited for this book to come out. I am really predicting this to be a 5-star read. Fingers crossed that it is. Okay, so let's get into the rest of my TBR. I will say I only own 3 of the books on the rest of my TBR. So my Kindle, she's gonna be getting a bit of a workout this month. But the first book that I wanted to talk about that I'm planning to read in the month of February is Restore Me by J.L. Seegers. So I actually started this book in November. I was in a really bad reading slump, and this was one of the books that I tried to read during that reading slump, and I was really enjoying it. I think it was very well written. I was really excited by the romance, but I was just not in the mood for this type of book. What ended up getting me out of my reading slump was a YA thriller, so really didn't expect that one. Shout out to the Inheritance games, but I always knew that I wanted to come back to this book. So this is a really interesting premise. This is enemies to lovers, and our main character's husband passes away, and then our male main character is his best friend, who our female main character has always had a very tumultuous relationship with. Even when her husband was alive, they just didn't get along that well. Well, now it's several years later, they have to work together, so they're kind of forced to have to interact, and it's very much like enemies to lovers, forbidden romance, and really trying to fight their attraction to each other. So what I read of this book, I really enjoyed. The writing is beautiful. It is an emotionally gripping story, but there's also a lot of like tension and angst, and so I'm just so excited to get back into this story and see how it goes for them. All right, the next book on my February TBR is going to be An Optimist's Guide to Heartbreak by Jennifer Hartman. So I have never read a book by this author, but she did write Still Beating, which was a very popular dark romance that came out last year. I am not going to read that book. It seems a little bit too dark to me, but a lot of people whose romance opinion I really trust loved that book. So even though I'm not going to pick up that one, I do have faith that this next book by her is going to be good because I have heard really great things about her writing. So An Optimist's Guide to Heartbreak, I saw the cover and I was just so curious about it. I think it is just like the happiest and cutest cover, and this is another Grumpy Sunshine romance. So our main character, I believe she moves back to her childhood home and ends up having to work for the very grumpy, very tattooed Cal. I think Cal grew up across the street from her. They haven't seen each other in a long time, so I don't know if it's quite childhood friends to lovers, but it is kind of seeing someone that you haven't seen in a long time, and there's this interesting Grumpy Sunshine dynamic between them. I'm really looking forward to this. I have seen a few people read this book and say that it is fantastic. I have very high hopes for this one. All right, and the next book on my February TBR is going to be be Act Your Age, Eve Brown by Talia Hibbert. This book I feel like needs no introduction. It is such a popular book here on BookTube, and I'm so excited to finally pick this book up. This book follows our titular character, Eve Brown. She is the youngest sibling in the Brown sisters family, and her parents tell her she needs to forge her own way and prove herself. She ends up getting a job at this bed and breakfast and has to work for our very grumpy love interest. I've heard that this book is just really funny, really sweet, has amazing spice, and really fantastic character development for both of our characters, so I am so excited to pick this book up. Okay, so the next few books are actually going to be hockey romances. I don't know what it is, but I am in a huge hockey romance mood right now. I've only read one hockey romance in my life, and I need to rectify that. That feels like a sin, so I am adding quite a few hockey romances to my TBR this month. So the first one is Mile High by Liz Tomford. I feel like this book is everywhere, and I've just seen fantastic 5-star things about it, so I'm very excited. This will probably be one of the first books that I read in February because I am so looking forward to it. So Mile High follows Evan and Stevie. Evan is a playboy, bad reputation hockey player, and then Stevie is a flight attendant who ends up getting hired to work on his private jet. He has a really bad attitude, and Stevie wants nothing to do with it and is going to rightfully put him in his place, but the two of them are of course going to fall for each other in the skies. I am really looking forward to this book, and I also just love like the airplane setting. I don't imagine that the whole book takes place on an airplane, but I just like the idea of this brooding, egotistical hockey player and a flight attendant who stands up to him and he ends up falling for her. I always love when like the playboy bad boy ends up falling for one girl, so I've heard amazing things. I am so excited to pick this book up. The next hockey romance that I want to read is Offside by Avery Keelan. I saw that this book was Brothers' Rival, and I was like, say no more. Added it to the TBR, added it specifically to my February TBR. I just saw a lot of really amazing reviews from this on Goodreads, and I love, once again, our male love interest is a bit of a playboy, has a bit of a reputation, and I just absolutely love when that kind of romance hero ends up falling for one girl. So very excited for this one as well. Okay, as somebody who went to speech therapy, saying this next sentence is really hard. Okay, the next book, I have to read it off my phone. The next book that I want to read in the month of February is Heated Rivalry by Rachel Reed. Oh my god. Okay, I'm really excited for this one. Once again, it's a hockey romance. It's enemies to lovers. It's male. They're both hockey players. I just think it's gonna be so good and so much tension, and I'm really looking forward to it. Okay, that is going to be it for hockey romances for now. I do have more, so we'll see. Maybe I'll mood read and pick up a few others, but I definitely want to get to at least those 3 in the month of February. All right, so now it is time to talk about one of my favorite genres, fantasy, and her much cooler older sister, fantasy romance. For just traditional fantasy, I am planning to pick up Bloodmarked by Tracy Deonn this month. I read the first book, Legendborn, back in November, I think. Really loved it. Gave it 4 stars. It's a really solid YA fantasy. It is a bit of a King Arthur retelling. There is demon hunting, and it was just a really fun time. So I want to pick up Bloodmarked. I've heard fantastic things. I am really excited to get back with Bree and get back into this world that Tracy Deonn has created. All right, and the last just traditional fantasy that I want to read in February is Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. I'm so excited. If you guys saw my vlog where I read Warbreaker, you know. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. I will also be talking about it in my January wrap up, but I am obsessed. I am so excited by Warbreaker and to continue on with Brandon Sanderson's work. I am next going to tackle the Mistborn trilogy, so starting with the Final Empire. This series I know is so popular. I feel like everyone has read it. I feel like everyone really loves this series. I'm going to start with Mistborn. I think I'm going to read one Mistborn book a month for the next few months. We'll see how that goes, but I just have really high hopes for this. The next book on my February TBR is going to be A Strange Hymn by Laura Thalassa. So this is the second book in the Bargainer series. I am one of the co-hosts on my friend Sahar's Fantasy Romance Book Club. We are reading the Bargainer series over the next few months, and in February we are reading A Strange Hymn, and I'm really excited to see where this story goes. Particularly, my favorite thing about book 1 was the plot. I'm really curious to see what Desmond and Callie are going to do. There's still a lot of mystery and intrigue that Laura Thalassa has created, so I'm really looking forward to it. All right, so the last few fantasy romance books that are on my February TBR, I am going to be reading because I am participating in a fantasy romance readathon this month. So Tori over at Tori Between Pages has created an amazing week-long fantasy romance readathon called the Romantasy Readathon. I will have Tori linked down below. Go check out her channel, subscribe to her, watch her announcement video, and please join this readathon. It's going to be so much fun. So there are a few teams that we can join. I decided to join the Dark Romance Readers team. I really liked the prompts for the Dark Romance Readers team. So our prompts are read a book with a forbidden romance trope, read a book with a morally gray character, and read a book that you are dying to get to. There's also a group book that I will be talking about in a second that could probably fit a lot of these prompts, but I do want to challenge myself and read multiple books for this readathon, of course. So there is a group book for this readathon, and that is A Court of Ravens and Ruin, and Tori described it as a defiant human woman, a dark fae prince, two enemies bound to a marriage that could destroy their world. That is perfect. I don't need to read any further. Like, that just sounds absolutely amazing. So I will definitely be reading that week, and I feel like that will probably fit into most, if not all, of the prompts. The next book I want to read for this readathon is A Dawn of Onyx by Kate Golden. I've been seeing this all over Bookstagram, and I'm very, very excited about it. So in this book, our main character, Arwen, she gets kidnapped by a fae king of darkness. Sounds fantastic. Waiting for it to happen to me. And the king of darkness is extremely morally gray. He's known to be vicious, and Arwen has to find a way to get out of here. So in order to escape this king of darkness, she needs to hone the magic that has been lying dormant in her entire life. So I feel like it's a very classic fantasy romance story. I've seen really amazing reviews of this book, and I am so excited to read it. And then the very last book on my February TBR is going to be Blood of Desiderium by Ali Stueb, or Steb. I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name. I apologize. So this is a new adult dark fae fantasy romance. Our main character is a princess, and she is the only person of royalty who does not have any powers. She is trying to escape her evil father, and along the way ends up getting betrothed to a dark prince that she wants nothing to do with. This book is about self-discovery, obviously enemies to lovers. There's a lot of fae and creatures in this book. I am really excited to read this, particularly for the Romantasy Readathon. It's going to be the best week ever. All right, friends, so that is it. Those are my reading plans for the month of February. Go ahead and let me know down in the comments below, what are you reading in the month of February? What are you most looking forward to? Are there any romances that you are particularly excited about? If you made it to this point in the video and you wanted to let me know, go ahead and leave any of the pink heart emojis. As always, my Instagram and Goodreads are linked down below. Please make sure to go follow me on there. I would also really appreciate that if you have not subscribed to my channel yet, please do so and like this video. It really helps me out. I really appreciate that you watched this video. I love you all so much, and I hope that you're having a fantastic day, and I will catch you guys in the next one.